State Farm is there.
All right, it is 10:31, and we've switched gears quickly here, and now we're joined by Rick Gates of the Gates Funeral Home here in Uniontown. Rick, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, TJ. Good to be back. I appreciate it, and as always, thank you for entertaining us throughout the day.
Likewise, and good to see you. And as we always start, why don't you tell everybody all your information if they need to get in touch with you?
Yes, sir. My name is Ricky Gates. I'm with the Gates Funeral Home at 136 North Gallatin Avenue here in Uniontown. You can reach us at 724-434-8040, or you can go to our website at www.gatesfuneralservices.com. We're located in the former DeCarlo Funeral Home there, 136 on North Gallatin Avenue here in town again.
So what's been new, Rick, since we spoke at the end of August?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a few events that we did this summer, and again, I want to just take a moment to thank the American Legion, the ABATE, all the bike riders. We had over 90 bike riders for Owen Hockenberry and for the Chubby Hands Foundation. I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for coming out and the overwhelming amount of support for our organization, and it was absolutely wonderful. I do, on behalf of Vicki Wheatley, who's going to join us again here, hopefully later this year before the year ends. She's really putting things to the grind with our foundation, and we've been plugging away at that, and we actually, TJ, have another fundraiser event going on. And if anybody would like to know a little more about that, you can give us a call at the funeral home or at the Chubby Hands Foundation, but it'll be on October 18th. We're going to be hosting a game night at the Dunbar Eagles. Thank you, Dunbar Eagles. They've been very easy to work with. They've been very kind to open their doors to us for so many things. So please, people, when you see the Dunbar Eagles, thank them for everything. There are tickets available. They're $20 a piece. That includes food, snacks, and soft drinks. There is a cash bar available. As always, just be careful. But if you need any additional information, you can call over to the Gates Funeral Home at 724-434-8040, or you can give us a call at 724-984-2106 if you're interested in purchasing a ticket for yourself or for a few friends. I mean, you're going to go out and spend $20. You might as well come join us and enjoy a game, some good company, and know that everything's going to be going to a great charitable cause.
And you guys have to be impressed with how far the Chubby Hands Foundation has come in just a few years.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, these are baby steps, and again, it couldn't have been done without the hard work of our staff and the Wheatley family, and most importantly, Vicki. I can't stress enough what she does. Her sons are absolutely wonderful. I think they're for lighter words, that they're her crutches, and Bill and Big Jim. I mean, he's the silent backer with everything, but we appreciate everything that and the community for helping us get as far as we have so quickly.
And so back at the funeral home, how have things been going there?
Well, everything's going well. I mean, I've encountered a few things. The way I come up with things to talk about are different things that we've encountered recently over the month, and just try to give families some hints. The most important thing, I think, for families is just letting them know the different things that they're going to encounter. When someone is older, I find that a lot of times our topics can be a little taboo, but honestly, to talk about and get the information out, and I know, TJ, I stress every time I'm in here about pre-planning, and again, pre-planning does not need to be, it doesn't have to be in its entirety. That doesn't mean you're walking into the funeral home and you're giving a check and trying to, take care of everything all at once. Pre-planning can be simply coming in and saying, hey, Rick, when the time comes, these are what my wishes are. We don't want to take care of anything financially, but we would definitely like to have something in writing. And when the time comes, a lot of times, not all the family members know what your wishes were or what merchandise place, what casket, what urn, and I just simply keep it on record. For the small little details that can sometimes be a little more difficult, or families may get into a little argument about, and we can simply bring up the info and say, hey, this is what Mom told us, and if you want to stick with it or stay within these boundaries, it's a good way to help your family along. And again, it doesn't mean you have to come in with all the financing. When we do pre-arrangements, you can slowly put money aside. There's a lot of questions that we get, but you're not going to get the answers if you don't call and ask. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is meeting us part way, giving a call to the funeral home and saying, hey, what are our options? I had a family just a few days ago. They called us and they came out to get a few groceries and popped in on me. I was out in the yard working, and that seems to be what I'm doing when I'm not inside. But we went in, we talked for a while, and we more talked about where they're from, a little bit of history about the funeral home, and for those that haven't been in there, it's quite a funeral home to see. We're at 124 years that building's been standing.
Wow!
And just how unique and how people took such care and respect for their own work. I mean, just to see the funeral home keeps you away from the fact that you're in here talking about pre-planning, and it keeps your mind moving, and you're not there for strictly business. We're able to talk and hopefully help you through in an easier manner with that.
That's good. 124 years old.
1901.
Wow, that's amazing.
J.S. Douglas, he built that, and it's amazing to walk in. Mr. DiCarlo added on to the facility, turned it into a funeral home. There was a family between the first owner and third, Mr. DiCarlo, who built the funeral home and made it into a funeral home. Expanded back and up, but just last year we had helped the domestic violence for Christmas. We decorated the funeral home in Christmas. My mom and dad, they took the time to come in, and it's something that a lot of people will come through the door and say, boy, I'd love to see this place at Christmas. Yeah. And unfortunately, when they walk in, a lot of times the thought of my grandpap was here, that we were here for a loved one or a good friend, but just being able to see that funeral home in a different light was definitely, it was an experience, and we were able to help, the domestic violence center, and, that, again, another good cause that around the area that anytime we can help, we step forward to do.
And I'm sure you've done a lot of work to the funeral home since you've taken over. Obviously, you have to if it's an 124-year-old building.
Yeah, and I mean, when we got it, there was a lot of work that needed done and tightened up on, and you don't want to change much, because when you have families that have been coming there, and it's funny, you have someone that's saying, oh, my grandfather was here, or my parents were here, and they're in their 60s, 70-year-olds. And it's, you stop and think about it. Unfortunately, this day and time, weddings and funerals, you always hear it. And that's another thing with getting away from, traditional funerals. A lot of families are unable to see their loved ones, to spend time. One thing that makes me laugh is going through a friend's Facebook page or looking at a few pictures, and you see the funeral home in the background, and you realize, what a comfort there is to going to someplace like our funeral home and realizing that, wow, for generations, I had a family took a generational photograph there, 5 generations of family members in a picture. And it's just, the beauty of that place and what you're doing to respect and love and to carry on the tradition of your loved one. I mean, like one of my good pastor friends says, keep telling their story. When someone passes, they don't pass if you keep telling their story. So
so that's good. And it is, like you said, all about tradition and things like that. And it's able, you do some work on it, but you're able to keep it as original or as to the original look as it was.
Possible. Yeah, maybe change a few pieces of furniture and update and make things look. But no, for the most part, we've done everything we could to keep its originality there. So
And we're talking with Rick Gates from the Gates Funeral here in Uniontown. We always talk to Rick on the final Friday of every month. And what else has been going on, Rick?
Well, one thing that was brought to my attention, I've been getting phone calls about is we have families that ask, what the difference is. We have some cemeteries and third-party casket places that people are getting things. Just keeping in mind, families, if you're going to talk to the cemetery, if you're going to make plans, talk to everybody first. What my advice is, before you sign anywhere on a dotted line, make sure you know what you're getting into. Don't get one opinion, get several. It's no different. And the big thing that I feel that at my funeral home that separates us from other places and different things is we're all family. Our door people, if they're not immediate blood family, they're like family. I mean, I have Maggie Varndell and the Hoodogs, Patrick and Jamie. I mean, they're like family. They are family to us. And again, we want you to know when you come into our place, you are family. That I think makes a big difference when you're trying to choose where the right place is and what you're looking for. It's a matter of how you're talked to, how you're treated, and then most importantly, especially with the change of the type of services with cremation, is how your loved one is treated once you know they're in the care of that funeral home. There's some people that ask, they want a step-by-step, how does this work? What is the process? Where will my loved one be? In our case, your loved one's with me throughout the whole process. They never leave the care of Gates Funeral Home and our family and our employees. You're always with us at all times. I just can't stress enough. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't want to ask them in front of your family members, because we don't want to ask things in front of kids and grandchildren, just give me a call me on the side, or pull me aside, just say, hey, I have a question, because there's so many families that don't understand with that holding process and where's dad going to be while you're obtaining all the necessary paperwork. I mean, those things are important, and I stress to families, please ask, and you'll be able to tell from paperwork on things such as the death certificate, where the final disposition's taking place. Some families don't understand. With that being said too, TJ, we get a lot of questions about death certificates. I think that's something we've never really covered. Right. We have families that come in, and my rule of thumb that I tell families, when you're talking about what you need death certificates for, it's any physical asset that your family owns that you need to transfer or collect money or property. Anywhere you have your name on a title, so home, land, cars, bank accounts that are only in your name, life insurance policies, any investments, so stocks, bonds, CDs, retirement, and if there's a will. Those are the main places that I tell families you need to start, because a lot of families say, well, mom and dad's name are on all of the titles. Well, if you ever go to sell that property, you're going to need to have their name taken off. Basically, that death certificate is going to take the place of your loved one's signature so that you can have everything processed properly. Jeremy Davis at the Davis Funeral Home was in with us a little over a year ago, and he explained a lot of this. And, I do advise if you're talking to the funeral home, talk to the cemetery or get your advice from the funeral home, and also start looking into, getting a will or understanding. And I just brought in a pamphlet here at the radio station. We do have those available, and the information in there, I promise you, there's everything in that pamphlet. It's a free pamphlet. I've mailed out about 10 of them since the last time we were here, so I appreciate everybody that's reaching out all the way out to Connellsville and Mount Pleasant. So, if anybody needs a pamphlet to help them guide along and understand and see what it is that your family's going to encounter, this doesn't have anything to do with caskets and vaults and all those things. But these pamphlets have information that your family's going to need to know, who you need to contact in the event of my passing. If no family lives locally, please call these folks. Who's my accountant? who's my lawyer, what type of services you want. There's so much information. Do you have life insurance policies? There's all that information in there that you can take. You put it in a safe place, and when your family members come in, they can open that up and say, hey, we've got everything that we need right here. It's all written in black and white. If you don't need something, you cash in a CD, annuity, whatever, you cross it out, and your family doesn't have to look through all your paperwork and say, what does our uncle have that we don't know about? And it happens.
Yeah, definitely.
That's our big callback is, hey, we thought we needed 5 certificates. We need 2 additional because we didn't know our uncle had these CDs available. We didn't know that there was a 401k that he had money in, so planning ahead. And this guide keeps you from having to put anything at the funeral home. You can simply keep that in your house, and it's going to help you through and help your family know what they're going to need to do as a family to move forward and take care of your estate work.
So if anybody needs one of those, they can come see you. They could call you. You can mail them. Everything.
Yes, I handed a few out, but I mailed more over the past month after we talked about it, TJ, than we have, so far. So I had a lot of them that we mailed out along with our pricing information. So families, they received it, they called back, and now we've made appointments. And again, with the appointments, if you I'm a big sports guy, as TJ and I have talked about. If you need your home court advantage, home field advantage, I'll come to your house. It's not a big deal, folks. I do just as many pre-arrangements at the residence as I do at my house or at the funeral home, which is my house. I want you to be comfortable. I know there's several families I've had breakfast with, and we've talked about things because they're like, I really don't want to be there. We've had other family members. We'll go somewhere where you're comfortable and make you. And you don't have to have every decision made. It gives you things to talk about. Families don't know what they're entitled to when they're veterans. I'm going back out to the cemetery, the Alleghenies, this week, and the family had no idea that was something that they were entitled to. And all these little things that we discuss, I have everything written. It's in black and white, so you don't have to sit there and question what decisions are there out there. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of times families come in and said, nobody ever brought this to our attention. So...
And that's another thing I was thinking. You have, when people do have questions, and there's other places they could go, like you said, cemeteries and things like that. Should they come to a funeral home first to ask these questions, or should they go to the cemetery or the other places? Well,
here's what my thoughts are. The funeral home is going to know more about all the cemeteries than the cemeteries will about the other ones. Your funeral home is the hub that'll tell you roughly the range of pricing on funeral, on opening and closing and burials and vaults and all those things. And we know the private cemeteries. We know what those are. 'Cause, for instance, you can look at a burial to purchase a plot, and the opening and closing at a few of the cemeteries, it's under $2,000. I have other ones where, just to purchase the property, it's $3,000 to $3,500. That doesn't include for them to dig the grave. So it just depends on where you're going and what you want to do. A lot of times what determines where you want to go is, hey, we have family at this cemetery. That's where we want to go. Other families are like, we're up in the air because we have our extended family. I now have children. I have aunts and uncles, that are buried here, but we wouldn't mind going to a different cemetery. And what's the difference? What's the upkeep? How's the place look? How's it maintained? Who better to ask than a funeral director? And if we don't know, to be honest, my biggest resource is the vault company. It's okay to not know.
Yeah,
it is, because if I don't know, I don't give you an answer just to act like I know everything. No, I call, make the phone calls to people that have been there. A lot of times that's the vault companies. The vault company in the area, they have been to all the cemeteries because they service all of the funeral homes. Maybe the grave digger, the gentleman who's going to dig the grave, you can ask him. Wayne at Silva's and he's a very hardworking man, and if I don't know something, I give him a call because he's been there, done that. When someone's been doing a job for 40 years and it's a second generation, you know who to ask. And it's okay to not know people. I have a lot of families that walk into the funeral home and they say, this is a silly question. If you thought of it, it's not a silly question.
So if anybody does have questions, they should come to the funeral home or get in touch with you.
That's my advice. And again, that's my advice is go to your funeral home. If you have questions about where to go, what to do, how much funerals are, you can get your information, then make a decision based on how you feel, how you were treated, who took the time to talk to you. I mean, there's a lot more into just saying, oh, well, Uncle Jim was there, so we're going back. And I mean, the care for your loved one at the end of the day is the most important thing. Knowing you can walk out that door and say, good, now I can concentrate on my family and my friends, and I know that our loved one's in good hands.
Yeah. So you have all the resources, and like you said, if you don't know, you'll find the answers.
And again, my resume, I've been fortunate enough. I worked at the busiest funeral home in Maryland, D.C. area. And, I've been to Arlington, all the right cemeteries for veterans. And I've been fortunate enough that I learned a lot in previously where I was. I am from Brownsville, went to Geibel. But, I don't know how many green burials we've had around here, but I've had a couple dozen, which, that's another big thing coming up. Oh, we want a green burial. Well, a lot of families don't know or understand those burials can be more costly, not from the funeral home perspective, but the cemetery. And people are very surprised by that. They say, well, there's not as much work in it. And there's actually more work for the cemetery. So, those sort of things are things that I've encountered for years now that, that are starting to become more popular or more asked about in this area.
So we still have a little bit of time. So maybe just a little brief of what about a green funeral?
Well, a lot of families that if you read online, it's returning to the earth.
Okay.
is the way that a lot of the cemeteries that I had previously dealt with. Basically, what we would do and what I would do is bring your loved one back into our care, do the necessary steps. Usually it's bathing and dressing them. No formaldehyde, no chemicals. A lot of times I've helped people of the Muslim and Jewish faith as well. They're shrouded. They have their own within the church. They'll come over and sometimes want to dress someone that's in their church. So, especially with the Latter-day Saints, they have a specific organization. But these different things, you have to follow their rules and be able to accommodate them. But a green burial is very similar to what some of those churches do. You're wrapped or shrouded. There are caskets that are biodegradable. Most of them that I have dealt with and found to be the best ones for a green burial. They're simple baskets, and everybody says, well, they should be cheap. They're a simple basket. Well, remember, these casket companies know that there's not many out there, and they tend to be more expensive. You know the old saying, don't just put me in a pine box.
Yes.
They have those, but they're more expensive than a metal casket typically. Not all the time, but, I've had families that made their own caskets. But again, those are the things. The big difference is at the cemetery, basically, you're laid to rest, and a lot of times different cemeteries do it differently. Some don't require a vault at their cemetery. Others will turn the vault upside down, and you'll be laid to rest that way so that you'll be returned to the earth and won't be sealed in and protected for the from the elements. But the thing is, TJ, is whenever you don't have the vault, basically the ground keeps sinking and sinking, and they have to go back and they have to care for it. That's what the cemeteries that I had been to would explain to the families, because when we had our first one, I was fortunate enough that I took it and I had 1,000 questions, and I'll be honest, the cemetery didn't have all the answers yet either. So I mean, it's a work in progress. It's not something we can do around here. Toward Pittsburgh, there is a cemetery that does help do green burials. But I mean, those are things to keep in mind. And that's a question you can ask. Again, some families say, oh, it's got to be cheaper because it's less work. It's actually more work in the eyes of the cemetery. I mean, and they will charge you more because that area of land also needs to be designated for green burials. You can't go to any cemetery and say, that's what I want. You have to follow their rules and regulations.
Okay. And so that's becoming more popular now?
It's being asked about. Around here, it hasn't hit our area yet, but I'm sure it's going to. I mean, I still believe that cremation is going to be the biggest way that people are changing from burial to cremation, simply because, families are finding that the cost at the cemeteries and different things are becoming more expensive, and it's more economical, number one, and number two, it gives family a little more freedom sometimes, but then you still have people like me where I'm the traditional. My brother Brian is he and I have this discussion about cremation or burial, and he leans towards cremation, which everybody has to do what's best for them and understand what's best for your family. A lot of times just bringing someone back and doing the cremation and not having any type of memorial or viewing prior to can be problematic for families because they don't know how to grieve. You're in new territory. You're swimming in water where you're not certain how to grieve, how to get the everyone around you closure, and those sort of things. So that's the biggest thing, and that's what talking to us prior to doing and making these decisions. You can take that into account and see financially. First and foremost, that's always a big thing. And, it'll help you be better equipped to make the right decision for your family.
We got about a minute and a half here, Rick. Anything else as we get ready to wrap up?
No, I just like to, I know I talk about my daughter a lot, but she just got her 1,000th kill in volleyball.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she, first volleyball player at Brownsville to do it. She's now in the 1,000 club, 1,000 points in basketball, 1,000 kills in volleyball. When we were interviewed by a Pittsburgh reporter, he's looking into it and he said there's no way to tell because this is an odd thing, especially nowadays. And he doesn't know how far back records go. But Skylar, congratulations. Other things, just remind everybody that's out there, please, these football games are going. You can listen to TJ on the radio here at WMBS and support these young men and women in the sport. You got soccer, football. Please go out and watch these kids. It's a couple hours on a Friday, Saturday, or a weekday. Please go out there and support these kids and show that we care. And they're the future generation, and we want them to pass that on to your grandkids and great-grand. Please go out and support these kids, young men and ladies out here in the community.
And go ahead, last 15 seconds, your information, Rick.
Okay, again, I'm Ricky Gates with the Gates Funeral Home. We're located at 136 North Gallatin here in Uniontown. You can contact me at 724-434-8040.
All right, Rick, we'll talk to you next month.
Thank you, TJ. Keep up the good work.
And this is WMBS Uniontown at 11 o'clock.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Peter King. The morning after the indictment of former FBI Director James